Well, hello everyone, and welcome to my weekly Wednesday chat. I am super excited to be here today with Susan Palmer. Hello, Susan.
Hello.
How are you today?
Great. It's a beautiful day here in the Northwest. It's supposed to be 95 later on, so I'm enjoying the coolness right now.
That is awesome. And so let me I always like to just make sure that I pull up my phone really briefly, and that I can see that we're live. I got to turn off the volume because it immediately came into the right place to tell me that we are indeed live. And we have Gloria and Michelle and oh my goodness, it's great to see you guys. Everybody's jumping on. Tamory's here. All these names you're going to recognize, and some that you won't. So I am Anne Lafollette, and I am a surface pattern designer, an online educator, and to be honest, my favorite title that I give to myself is creative entrepreneur. And Susan is an artist and a quilter up in the Seattle area, right?
Correct.
And so I love to, over the course of the summer, I just thought, let's do some student spotlights. And so I teach surface pattern design. Many people get started with my free program, which is coming up again in September, which is called From Doodles to Dollars, which you took probably, Susan?
I did. That's where I found you.
Yeah, that's where you first found me. And then you came into my paid program, my Pattern Design Academy program, which is a 10-week intensive program where we go much, much deeper into how to become a surface pattern designer and leverage all of the skills that you learn in Adobe Illustrator to turn your beautiful artwork into either illustrations or repeating patterns, so that in your case in particular, as a quilter, you could actually have your own stash of fabrics. And
Right.
so what we want to what we want to do today is stop talking about me and start talking about you. And so first of all, I'm so grateful to have you here. And Virginia's here, and Jane, hello Jane, and Laura, and Lillimore is here from Sweden. Claude is here from Montreal. My wing woman, Pauline Riley, is here. Juanita, it's great to see you here as well, and Jody, all kinds of friends. So if you're new here, I come live every Wednesday at noon Pacific time to talk about either what's going on in my business, when I'm offering my programs again, like Doodles is coming up again in September, and then also to highlight many of my brilliant student success stories. So Susan, let's get started with you. Tell us where you are. You're in the Seattle area.
Correct. To north of Seattle, halfway between Seattle and the Canadian border. So, yeah, get the beautiful Northwest.
Beautiful
And
Northwest, so not so far from me. I mean, you're at least on the same side of the country.
right.
And have you
Love that.
always lived there?
I actually went to school in Santa Barbara College in Santa Barbara, and I lived in Portland, Oregon for about 5 years. But the rest of the time I've been north of Seattle. So yeah,
Fantastic. Now, what did you like to do as a kid creatively? This is a fun. I love to ask this question because I had the giant crayon set.
right,
What did
right.
you What
Well,
did you like to do?
well, I love the crayons. That was definitely the best place to go when I was a little kid. But I think I told this story before. My mom, when I was, very young, she and a friend of hers decided to take watercolor classes at the community college. And she said I ruined her watercolor career because every time she got them out, I wanted to be on her lap and play with her. So, so her friend became an amazing watercolorist, and she became an amazing mom. So,
So there you go. But she
yeah,
she opened up this world of that world of art and the world of creativity to you at a very young age.
absolutely. And then in junior high school, I took a calligraphy class and fell in love with calligraphy. I'm not good at it at all. Some of your students that are calligraphers, I just idolize because they're so amazing.
Yes, and I don't
And
know
then
if Judy's here, but Judy is who we all
yeah,
revere,
yeah,
right? So Judy, who goes by just Judifer, is an
uh-huh,
incredible calligrapher and hand letterer. So,
right,
but listen,
yep,
we all have unique talents, right? We all have unique talents.
Absolutely. And I was a photographer in high school and college, and that's what my degree was in is photography. And I was professional photographer about 10 years, then ended up at the phone company for, I don't know, 15 years, and that job went away. And I was a quilter all that time. And so my husband said, well, you've always wanted to get a long arm quilting machine. So I took my little nest egg from the phone company and bought a quilting machine, and I've been quilting ever since.
Now tell me, like, when did this love of quilting start? Because you said you did it on the side, right? You did it on the
Yeah,
side for years, even when you had a job.
right, right. It started right after college when I went to Portland. There was a beautiful shop called Daisy Kingdom. I'm sure there's people out there that still remember it. They made beautiful children's clothes and adult clothes that matched, but they also had a beautiful quilt shop. And I went in there one day, and a fabric is so fun to pet and touch, and that's where I fell in love. Took my first class there at Daisy Kingdom, and I've been quilting and sewing ever since. So.
Fantastic. And so when you came into my community, were you initially attracted because you said, oh my gosh, I do all this quilting. Wouldn't it be great to have my own designs?
Well, since then, I have gotten deeper into the quilting community where I sell fabric for different companies, um, and always enjoyed the design and listening to the shop owners talk about what they're looking for in fabrics. And I've always just wanted to design my own fabric, but never knew how I could do that until I saw your Doodles to Dollars, and thank goodness I found you.
Well, listen, one of the things that's so fabulous and so special about you is that you have this kind of insider knowledge of,
Hopefully.
well, when you are a surface designer, what are the types of things that sell well? How are fabric swatches sold into quilting shops, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can share with everyone here that whole background so that
Mm-hmm.
so that if other people would love to get into service design, this is one way to do it. But it's really, really great to know how it actually works.
Yeah, and I apologize. I thought I had a little swatch here, but I'm not seeing it. But it basically, I'm sorry. You get it. There's two ways that the fabric stores send out their fabrics for us to sell. Is one, it's in a oh my gosh, my
It's
brain just
on
went
like
dead.
isn't it on like a card? It's on a
Right.
card, and then it
Yeah,
basically
and
what it looks
layers
like
of
to
fabric.
me, since I'm more of a paper products person, is it
Mm-hmm.
looks to me like when you go into a store and you see all of the wrapping paper, and the wrapping paper is on a beautiful kind of it's on these bars, right? And that
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
it's quite similar where there's like everything's held from the top, but then you can flip through each one of the fabrics to kind of see both to touch it and feel it, and of course look at the print and to see which ones that
Right.
you like.
And then the other one is it's just printed on a card. It's not fabric at all. And those are the companies that most of the quilt shops know the quality of their fabric, so it's not a necessary touchy-feely thing for them. They just look at it for the design, for the surface design.
Right, so that's
And
more like a printed brochure almost kind of
exactly.
thing that is showcasing how the collection could be put together, but you're not actually touching the fabric.
You're so good, Anne. Yes, exactly.
So you've got a bunch of quilters here who are saying, "Yes, I remember Daisy Kingdom." Here's Jane Foster, who we all know has been
Hi,
sewing
Jane.
her whole life, and Janelle said the same thing. Yay, Daisy Kingdom!
We wish
so,
it was still there.
so tell people in the audience who are not actually aware of what a long arm quilting machine is. Tell us what that is.
Okay. Okay. Well, it is a machine. Mine's 12 feet long and about 6 feet wide. And you actually wrap when. Okay. So this is hard to explain if you're not a quilter, but the top maker will make the beautiful top. And then there's 3 layers to a quilt. There's the top, the batting, and the back. And I actually do the stitching that stitches it all together to make a quilt. And a long arm machine is a large machine. I think if you went to my website, there's a picture on there of my long
Sure.
arm machine.
So hold on a second.
And
And Susan, I want to put your URL in the comments as well.
a Quilt Life.
I think I have it already set back here, but hold on a second.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on one second. Here we go. We've got, it's very cool when you put in a Quilt Life, your Instagram profile comes up immediately.
I've been working on that.
You're working on your SEO. How about that?
Yes.
And good for you. And then let me make sure that I actually get a quiltlife.com up here too. And then I will share my screen. So I'm going to share my screen while you keep talking. And so
Okay.
if for some reason adding this additional technology to our live broadcast, we'll be right back. But it should be very smooth. Normally I have no issues, but I always like to give a little prayer to the internet gods to make sure that they know we're going to be actually sharing my screen. So that
Yay.
this is Susan's beautiful website, which is called A Quilt Life. When life gives you scraps, make your quilt. So talk to us about, first of all, that is outstanding. And talk to us also about this beautiful image of the sea.
Well, that's one of my surface designs that I'm playing with. And I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram, you're probably seeing it all over the place. But yeah, that was done after your class while I was doing immersion with Bonnie Christine. So
awesome. Okay. So this is beautiful. I popped back over to your Instagram profile because you also have some amazing, are you now also selling some of your dresses on
Le Galeriste?
Yeah, Le Galeriste up in Canada. Look at this beautiful dress.
Right. Yeah, and I tried to match them. So if you go to click on it, you can see the next picture. I'm up at the top right of that picture. Yeah, there you go. And so I was trying to match things to go along with it and getting people's advice if they felt like that would go along with
well
it.
Together. So. Ooh, I like the skirt too.
I've been getting a lot of compliments on the sea foam, so
yeah,
I'm trying to play with it more.
Is super cool.
Yeah.
So let me go back over to Quilt Life because we came here. I know I'm bouncing all over the place, but you wanted to. You said that there was a long arm quilt picture. Is that
there? You go. That's that one. Yeah.
Look at
exactly.
this.
So it's just a giant quilting machine that you actually move instead of moving the fabric. So it's really fun.
So you have to have a very large space to fit that.
Well, it's that my room is about 8 by 12, so it fills the whole room.
Yeah,
and I have my
washer
and dryer in there. I have my washer and dryer in there too, so it's cozy.
So then you've got a question here. Let me come back. Let me come back on screen. And Claude, who just completed the Pattern Design Academy, she was part of the class of May 2021. So Claude's question for Susan is, what do quilters look for in pattern design as opposed to fabric for garments, for example? Great question. Well,
you know, it is a great question. The quilt shops look for the same thing quilters look for. They want a beautiful focus fabric, something that just is eye-popping and just catches their eye. And then what they do is they build from that. So then they go to the secondary fabrics and decide to match, you know, what they want to match with it, what colors they want to add to that beautiful piece of fabric. And they go all the way down to solids and even add in solids. So,
right. So
does that make sense?
Right. So when you're thinking about putting a quilt together, you do want to have a combination of what I call hero prints, secondary prints, and blenders, right? So when you're building a collection, which I teach you how to do in the Pattern Design Academy, it's the same methodology where you want to have sort of the star of the show, which is going to be in some portion of the quilt design. Then you want to have things that coordinate with that, but are not quite as sort of loud, if you will, or they're more secondary, meaning they're letting the star be the star. And then you also want very simple ones for some different components of the actual quilt design.
And scale's a big deal too. You want different size scale as far as your design too, because it helps with the play of the fabric.
Yeah, and so Kate is saying the same thing. So Kate, thanks so much for your message. She said they need a print scale, value, and color. And so all of the things that we talk about inside the module 6, which is all about pattern design collections, is how to get a nice mixture of your hero, your secondary, and your blenders, how to make sure you have different scales, how to make sure that you actually have a really, really great mix of light and dark, which speaks to value, and then of course color range. So let us know in the comments if you guys have any other questions about quilting, because I know there are actually a lot of quilters here. And Pauline says, what type of fabric do you quilt with? Is it linen or cotton, or what generally is the type of fabric?
It's usually 100% cotton. There is cotton sateen that a lot of people like. It's a little bit more expensive, but 100% cotton, a good quality, is a big deal. And that varies from place to place. I mean, okay, Joann Fabrics is not the place to buy your fabric because they get the lowest scale quality cotton possible. And if you do buy it from there, please, please, please wash it before you put it in your quilts, because once you wash it afterwards, it's going to puff up like a parachute if you don't wash it.
So these are the insider tips on, right? This is so important.
Yeah, please go to your quilt shops. They are the best place to ask questions. They are the most knowledgeable people around, and you will learn so much from your local quilt shop owner. So, but yeah.
And quality matters. So Karen Fix Curry is saying 100% cotton, broadcloth, or sateen, and quality matters. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so
if you're gonna put all that time into making a beautiful quilt, make sure it lasts.
Exactly. So what are you working on right now? Is the one in the picture on your website, is that one that you're actually working on right now?
Yeah. No, actually, that one is the older one. I think if you go to my Instagram page, you'll see some of the newer ones. We just had a big giant quilt show. Well, big giant for us at Kama Beach State Park in Washington State. There's a group of ladies that quilt. Yeah, that picture right there is from the park.
Yeah, this is amazing. Now tell us about this, right? So your
every
Argyle
year
quilt and a bunch of your quilts, you sold 23 quilts at this show.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good show. We had 63 quilts that they made over the last year, and we had them all up and on display, so people come just to enjoy the quilts, but they get an opportunity if they want to purchase one of the quilts at a crazy discount price and take it home and enjoy it. And the money raised goes to the park for their programs at the park. So it's pretty nice. Plus, each of these cabins that you see here, you can rent out daily, weekly. I think 2 days is the minimum. But they have quilts on the beds inside the cabins too. So the ladies are very productive and do beautiful quilts, make beautiful quilts.
Oh my goodness. And so where is Kama Beach?
It is on Camano Island, which is north of Seattle, about an hour north of Seattle. And it's just a fun place. I think that we someday should all come and your whole Anne's World and rent these cabins out and have a really good retreat.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm already trying to plan a retreat for 2022, and so how many people could go to a place? How many rooms would there be, or how many people can be in each cabin?
Well, the cabins range from 4 to 12. I think the largest one is. The one thing about the 4 cabin people with a 4, they have to share a community bathroom, which isn't bad at all. It's a very nice, clean, beautiful place. So no big deal there. But if you have to rent out in the middle of the night, that's the only thing.
Yeah, so it's sort of camping, right? It's like
it's very rustic.
Yeah, but it looks amazing.
And it's beautiful. You're right on the Puget Sound there, right? It's couldn't be more beautiful.
Yeah, and so Karen Fix Curry has to tell us where she lives, because she must be like down the street from you. So she said, do you know Karen? Karen's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes,
Awesome. Karen,
she's one
thank
of the
you.
quilters.
Yeah, thank you for joining us here live. That's awesome. So cabins are available through Kama Beach State Park.
Hmm.
Awesome.
And you want
Fantastic.
to get your reservations in 9 months in advance because they reserve very fast.
So I bet they do. So Jody has some recommendations for us as well. She said there's such a difference in quality fabrics. I usually stay with Free Spirit, Jane Sassaman, Kathy, Brandon and Philip, Amy Butler. I'm sure those are all names that you're familiar with.
Yeah, that's actually Kay Facet, I think is what she's saying there. But yeah, those are all beautiful fabrics. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So one of the things I wanted to make sure we covered today is you are working on this like super cool new project, which you want to tell us about because some of us actually may want to participate in it. So
Okay.
tell us what it is. Break it down for us.
Okay, so I've been talking with a company, Paintbrush Studios. I used to be a representative salesperson for them. Their quality of their fabric is pretty fabulous, and they
what
do
is
have
their name again?
Paintbrush Studio Fabrics, and they go by PBS.
PBS, Pink
Fabrics.
Brush.
Paint.
Fabrics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have an opportunity where you can go onto their website and actually they will print up your fabric. I started talking to them about getting 500 yards of fabric printed for me, which I could break down into 5 different designs. The minimum for one design is 100 yards of fabric. So it is a little bit of a, but that's a good chunk of fabric. Anyhow, I noticed on their website too that they said, contact us if you want 2,000 yards printed for pricing. So I contacted them and I said, I'm looking for a way to get a group of ladies to have their designs printed on quality fabric. And they are willing to work with us if you're interested into if we can get 20 designs basically together, we can get the fabric down to a wholesale price, which they haven't come back and told me exactly how much. I'm sure they're waiting to see how much I can, how many people are interested in doing this. For the 500 yards, the price is still a lot better than some of the other print on demand sites that we're so used to. So that's, that's a big discount right there. But if we can group together and come up with 20 designs, we can get it down to a reasonable price where we can actually sell our fabrics ourselves if we want to, or make our own products.
Exactly. So I'm super interested in, you're getting a whole bunch of people like Kathleen and Janelle. And so I wanted to pop over to their website, which is pbsfabrics.com, right?
Right.
Because it looks amazing. And I thought that I'd share my screen. We could go over here so that so people can first of all see how beautiful this company is, and then it's under this. We would actually all coordinate through you, right?
Right,
Susan,
right.
Because
Yeah.
custom printing option here is probably where, I don't know. Is this where you kind of started, and then you contacted them directly?
Yep. And they're really great about responding back and everything. So we've been I keep on saying, I'm sorry, I'm not becoming a pest, but and they're like, no, we love your ideas. So it's been pretty exciting.
And so Claude wants to know, what does that mean in terms of how many yards each person would get? So
each person would get a minimum of 100 yards of their one design. So if you wanted 5 designs, you would get 500 yards. Or if you wanted 200 yards of one design, that works too. But the minimum is 100 yards per design.
100 yards per design. And so talk to us a little bit about, what does that look like on a roll? How big of a roll is that?
So a bolt usually has 15 yards on it. So that's about 7 bolts, if that makes sense.
Yep, I think so. And so Lillimore wants to know if it would work for Europe too. So Europe, of course, would have shipping, but right. So Lillimore, it's so Jane. answer some of these questions. So Jane wants to know, is the minimum 100 yards? I think the answer is yes.
Yes.
The minimum's 100 yards, and it's 100 yards of one design.
Right. And they're willing to ship, right. And they're willing to ship to all of us. So I don't have to get all of the fabric and then ship it back out. They're willing to ship it to wherever we want it to go to. So you do have to pay for shipping on top of that, depending on where you live. But it's, you know, so they try to make it as cheap as possible on shipping.
No, it's amazing. And so, but for Lillemore, who's obviously in Europe, she's up in Sweden, she would send you, well, you'll tell us some of the logistics. She would have to pay for the shipping of the bolts of fabric over to Europe. And the shipping would be handled directly by PBS Fabrics.
Correct.
Got it.
Yep.
So then hold on, there's another question coming through. So Jody, so quite a bit of a discount on that.
And if you've been doing print on demand, you know, the prices are about $12 a yard. So this is a
way
big
less
discount.
It's than anything you can get on spoon flower, right? Because spoon flower's averages are $12 or something like that a yard.
Yep, and the price and the quality is a little bit better too.
Yeah, and so so that's of course the question that's coming through now is like, tell us about the quality. So is it all quilting cotton?
It is all quilting cotton. They do have a cotton sateen, but that's pricier. But it, you know, if you want to go that rate, actually, I'll step back because we have to put it all on the same type of fabric to get that $2,000. So I want to start out with quilting cotton. I don't know, Anne, if you remember when you asked me a long time ago what my big picture was. I wanted to start a co-op, quilting co-op for women to sell their fabrics. And I'm thinking, man, this is just kind of fitting right into that. If we can, you know, start out small and see where this goes, this would be awesome. So.
Exactly. So I do remember that it was one of those magic wand questions. It's like, if you had a magic wand and you wanted to see what your business looks like in 5 years, what would it look like? And so tell us more about kind of that vision, because I think everybody is totally honing in on
want to send your fabric to, you know, to one of, you know, if you'd like to send it to me and have me go around to quilt shops in the area and see if they'd be interested in your designs. You know, we can all work together and, you know, find our favorite quilt shops and say, hey, this is a new idea that we're trying out. What do you think about this? And see if we can get any sales that way too. So we could all work together and maybe start a great business.
Yeah, and so Kathleen, you know, also has a dream now that she's back in Ohio and she actually has a barn on her property. She's been thinking also about a beautiful co-op concept that's different, of course, from yours, but she loves the idea of co-ops, and that's Kathleen's dream too. And so Pauline's comment is, I'm obviously no quilter, but I can see this as a fabulous project, Susan.
Yeah, and you know, you could take your fabric and then take it to what do they call them, cut and sews. That's just a new term I've learned lately, where you send them your design and send them your pattern, and they will cut and sew and put your product together for you. You know, and there's different companies that will do that. There's small companies will do just a little bit, and there's larger companies that will do a whole lot. So, you know, it's an opportunity for you to get your own products on your own with your fabric. So it's another option.
Yeah, it's a great option. And so, because there's so many different ways for us to use the fabric once we have it, it doesn't always have to go into a quilt. It can go into many other things. And so Denise is remembering that as well, that this is what you wanted to do for a company idea, which is so awesome. And then Jody, I want to make sure that I bring Jody's comment over. She said, as many of you know, I am thinking of taking several of my character designs to be made into shape pillows. This would be fabulous because I could design 2 designs to fit on 1 yard of fabric and cut them apart myself for resale. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. And so
here's an opportunity.
It is totally awesome. And so then, of course, Annie McCormick wants to know, how would it work if you sold the fabric for us?
Yeah, we'd have to figure that out. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet, but basically when I sell for other companies, it's 10% of the sales goes to the salesperson. So I don't know if we want to go that way, or, that makes everything easy when it's, you use 10%. So
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's a 10% is seems like a great place to start for sure.
yeah, yeah.
So then tell us a little bit more about tell us. So Kathleen says, please, and I was going to say the same thing. So Kathleen, you're like, I'm totally channeling you, or you're totally channeling me. Please say more about cut and sew. Tell us more
Okay.
about that for those of us who are sort of non-quilters who are just moving into the quilting world. Tell us more about cut and sew.
I actually just learned about this, honestly, the other day from Stacy Bloomfield from her leverage class, and she talked about cut and sew. And I guess that's basically, if you're wanting to make a product out there, I guess that's what you should Google is cut and sew manufacturers. And she said, and she Googled it in class and around her area, and there was like, I think 5 different companies that were willing to do cut and sew and have their websites. So I always wondered how to find those manufacturers, but cut and sew is the term to look for. And they'll do anything from making tents to making pillows to making clothes, just depending on the company. So it's just a matter of research, but that's the Google word to look for.
Yeah,
to start with.
For sure, cut and sew. And so, so Annie McCormick wants to know what your full name and website is. So it's Susan Palmer, Palmer, and then I'm going to go back to let's go back to your website for a second so that everybody can write down the name of your website, which is aquiltlife.com.
Yeah.
And so Kathleen is saying that she could line her purses, right? She could do her own line of purses with her fabric.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah. And you can contact me through my website. You can contact me through my Instagram page. I also Facebook is a good place to find me. And I have 2 Facebook pages, Susan Palmer, and then it's just Quilt Life on Facebook. So.
And what would you prefer, just so it's easier for you? Would you like people to email you through this contact page on your website? So
that would probably be the easiest.
Right, name, email, phone number, and then the message saying I'm really interested in pursuing the.
Absolutely, and then we can, maybe schedule a time, and I'll get on Zoom and talk about it more, if you want to do that. So if there's enough interest in it, yeah. So yeah, that I think, Anne, that's the best way to do it is what you're showing right there.
So just all you need to do is go to aquiltlife.com, and then up here at the top, if you're on the home page, so I'll stop on the home page. I love this tagline: "When life gives you scraps, make your quilt." It's brilliant. And then all you need to do is click on contact up here. You guys see where my little cursor is? It turns into a hand that's with a pointing finger. At contact, if you click on contact, then you can put in your name, your email, your phone number, and then a quick message. So
I hope that gets everybody excited.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And so tell us a little bit more about the show. Did you say that the show's like an annual event?
It is. This year was our 13th event, and it's always the last Saturday of July. So put it in your calendar now and get your cabin
reserved for next July.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's a lot of fun. It's very relaxed. You can look at the quilts, and they have different things that they do there. They do like what they call a flower pounding, where we take flowers out of nature and put it underneath underneath fabric and just hammer it out so you get all your aggressions out, and it makes beautiful colors on your fabric, and you can make your own flowers fabric that way. They have beautiful music. They had marimba music going on the whole time we were there this year, and it just was just a wonderful event. And it's the biggest event that this park has every year.
Outstanding. So talk to us. Before we wrap up, I like to stay on for about a half an hour. It's been a little longer than that, but you haven't really had a chance to talk a little bit about sort of what you're doing creatively right now. Obviously, I totally want to make sure that people don't forget to write down how to contact you. So go to aquiltlife.com and click on the contact link so that you can send Susan all of your information. But let's also then just switch gears a little bit so you can tell us what you're working on right now. Do you have any fun show and tell?
Actually, I do.
Yay! We love show and tell.
Yeah, so La Galeriste has been very wonderful, and I have some new patterns that I just put up this week. So please go check out La Galeriste. Yeah, if you click on my website, there is a storefront. We'll click on that, and you can go to my storefront for La Galeriste. But we have it's a cute little skirt.
That's beautiful.
It's
like cherry blossoms.
Yeah, plum blossoms, exactly. Then it's actually reversible, so you can have a cute little black skirt if you want. Ooh. So it's great for travel, and I've washed it like 6 or 7 times since I've had it. It's really nice, and the quality is good, and it doesn't wrinkle.
I love the fact that the Galeriste has all of the products, like, they don't wrinkle, so they're great for travel.
Exactly. And this cute little jacket with another one of my patterns on the back, but it has a little black on the front.
It almost looks like a little kimono top.
It does. That's exactly how it wears. Yeah, just like that. So,
super.
Yeah. And then if you go, you'll see my niece wearing this jacket in my Instagram page, and it looks so beautiful on. It's just really pretty. And that's the one that you like so much.
Yeah.
With the little.
Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. After you show them, we're going to go back over to your Instagram account so we can show people there, and then we'll also go to your shop.
Okay. Yeah. And anyhow, I have a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
And I've been getting on Society 6, so I have.
Ooh, look at your backpack.
Designed a nice little backpack, and I also have got a yoga mat for my husband. He loves it. He says the quality of this yoga mat is just great.
Oh my gosh, it's fantastic. And it has the wrapper connected to it, right? So that you can carry it.
Right. And the quality is super nice. So been very pleased with both of those companies as far as the quality of their fabrics and their products. So.
And you have a fantastic pattern behind you. And so is that actually a piece of fabric, or is that wallpaper?
That is actually fabric. And this one is from Carriage House Printery. So it was about $12 a yard, but their quality I like a lot. So if you want just a couple of yards of your fabric, I would definitely recommend Carriage House Printery for that.
Carriage House Printery, yeah. So I'm going to share the screen again, and we're going to pop back over because I do want to show some additional photos from your Instagram account. And let me zoom back out and see where I'm navigating here. And so you have some fantastic new designs on Le Galeriste, right? And so where is the one of your niece that you were just talking about? Is it down?
Scroll down. Yep. Keep going. That's my new little grandnephew there, by the way. He was
super cute. When was he born?
He was born about 2 weeks ago. There's my niece there.
Wow. Look
isn't
how
that pretty?
Beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it has the hem is right. The hem is on the bias, right? It's
exactly. Yeah.
So pretty.
It's very shimmery and pretty in the light. So yeah.
Super pretty. And so then on your actual website, I've popped back over to A Quilt Life, and so do you want me to scroll down so I can see where this is your storefront, so I can click on shop?
Yep.
It's popping up. And I love your hero print up here. It's really, really pretty. Yes. And then here, this is so fun, right? It's so professional looking, and the designs are amazing. This one is also just amazing. I love this print.
Isn't that fun? I thought it looked like a sweater.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that Jody was asking is, how are you kind of going about marketing the different things that you now are doing? Because you're doing such a great job of, both Stacy and I recommend that you try to, have more, don't put all your eggs in one basket, make sure that you actually have a variety of different ways you're putting your artwork out into the world, either on garments through a shop like Le Galeriste or through the Society 6, or now potentially also through having your own fabric line. So talk to us just a little bit about how you're going about getting the word out, marketing.
That is where that's where I'm waiting for Anne to help me with that.
Okay.
But no, I do. My plans are for my fabric. There are a couple little shops in town that I thought would be, I haven't had the guts to approach them yet, but I think that they would be interested in having a local artist with their clothes in the shop. So I plan to contact them and see if they'd be interested in seeing what I have. Also, I'm thinking about doing kind of like a girls' night out Tupperware type party where I bring enough of the clothes for people to see them, then have some brochures and even have like a dress in all sizes so people can try them on and see what they think fits best for them. And kind of do, the pricing on the website is actually higher than what I can get them almost at wholesale prices. So my pricing for the girls' night outs could be less. So that's always,
that's an incentive for sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I love that idea because, there are actually a lot of retailers who do that where I think it started, actually, I guess it's, Mary Kay, right? Door to door.
Yeah.
Right. And Tupperware parties, Mary Kay, and many both jewelry companies do that too, where they go and they have an evening event. It's like a trunk show. It's your own trunk show.
Right. I have to give Kyle a shout out for that because she's been telling me that's what I need to do. So thank you, Kyle. And
Yay,
I am
right
on it.
She says, first of all, it's great to see you because I know you guys ended up meeting in person, right? Which is so awesome. And so she says, Susan, you're making such amazing progress so fast. I love it.
Oh, thank you. I don't feel that way, but yeah, I mean, every day you have to do one thing to progress, right?
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. And listen, you are building your confidence every single day to do bigger and bigger things. Like Jody says, think bigger, hook into other textile media, right? Which is a great idea. Just a totally, totally great idea.
And I've done a little dabbling in public art before, which you guys might not know that term, but it's just basically anything that's out in the public that, sculptures, quilts, if you go into different towns, a lot of towns will have like quilt blocks on all the different buildings in town. That's all considered public art. So one of the ideas that I've been working on with the city here is their water tank, and I'm hoping to get my geese design maybe put on the water tank. They're interested in it, but they're thinking it's going to be a couple of years off before they can wrangle that. But they've gotten me connected with another group that is going to be opening a new art event center here in town. And somebody's donated their large warehouse to turn it into an art event center. So, you never know which road you're going to go down with all this. So
exactly.
Thank you, Anne.
Exactly. And so Annie McCormick also said murals, right?
Yes, exactly.
Public spaces. Spaces. And then Michelle wanted to make sure you knew that she was giving you a big shout out here. Great marketing technique. In-person party would be fun and profitable, right?
Yep. And Michelle, you're invited.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much, Susan, for joining me today. Now, I want to make sure everybody knows that the interview that Susan did with me, I think it was in April, I think we did it in April, is currently running on my blog, anneLafolletteart.com/blog. It's actually the first part of the interview that you did with me earlier this year. And so next week is going to be the second part of the interview. And so if any of you guys have additional questions for Susan about this incredible opportunity for us to get 100 yards of fabric for around $6, make sure you go to aquiltalife.com and click on the contact page. and so that we can actually see how many of us we can get together. What's your goal? What would be your goal to be able to hit the numbers? 10 people? What's the number?
2,000 yards. So if you want, 5 different designs, you're looking at 500 yards. So I actually have 5 designs that I want to do. So, 1,500, excuse me, not 15,000. 1,500 is all I need to get started on this idea.
Awesome. Awesome. So let me see if we missed any questions. Otherwise, we will sign off for the day. So this is fantastic. Pauline says, this is such a great play on words also. What an amazing session, Susan. You are on a roll, lady. And of course, if you're getting a roll of fabric, that's a very cute little double entendre, which is lovely. And so thank you so much. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of interest, and I really appreciate you coming on here to tell us all about it. And it sounds pretty simple, right? First, we just need to contact you to say we're interested. Then we have to, at a minimum, give you one design.
Right.
And then, of course, that we could give you more than one design. And then we would tell us a little bit more about the logistics. Like, what do you need to get from people? Because we didn't really cover some of those details.
That's a good question. They love getting a Adobe Illustrator file. Yeah.
And that's what I thought, but I didn't know if that was going to be the answer. But I figured, they probably want an Adobe Illustrator file.
Yep, and they are willing to help you. If at minimum costs, if they find that there's something issued. But if we can, make a nice clean Adobe Illustrator file for them, they're going to love us. So, and Anne has given us all the tools for that. So I know we all can do that.
For sure. And listen, if anybody needs any help doing that, because I don't want that to be a stumbling block, I can do free tutorials to make sure that everybody gets the file into Susan the way it's going to be as easy as possible for PBS Fabrics. Okay. Awesome. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining me today. It's always a pleasure to see you. And thank you everybody for being here live. This has been an amazing session. Susan, you and I will stay on together as soon as I sort of hit the finish button. And then you guys know I'll be here next week. I'm always here every single Wednesday at noon Pacific Standard Time here in California. And I always like to say in closing that I am Anne Lafollette. And it's never too late to create. Thank you, Susan. Bye for now. And I'll see you all next week.